Anybody hear of the city of Chelm? It's in Poland. It was one of those cities that you always hear stories about the city of Chelm. They were kind of silly people. But the real truth is, what I heard from some people who actually come from Chelm, is that they said the people were so smart that they said these silly stories so people wouldn't give them an evil eye, which is very, very interesting. Anyway, I'd like to start with one little story with the city of Chelm. So, Shmerel, from the city of Chelm, he decided that he has a problem with his identity. He wanted to go to the bathhouse, but he understood that when he comes out of the bathhouse, he won't be able to figure out who he is, because when he comes out, there's going to be all kinds of clothes, and he won't know who he is, so he won't know which clothes to put on. So he got a very interesting idea. He was going to take a red string and tie it around his toe, and then he'll know who he is when he comes out of the bathhouse. So he goes into the bathhouse, he takes off his clothes, he jumps into the water, he's coming out of the bathhouse all excited, of course I know who I am. And guess what? The little red string disappeared. And he said, oh my goodness, I guess I don't know who I am. I don't know which clothes to put on again. Anyhow, we all have a problem with identity crisis. Who are we? Sometimes we ask ourselves, who am I? Who is my identity? Who am I as a person? Who am I as an adult? Who am I? Who is the me? Who is the self? Who is the I? And it's interesting, there's a very cute Hasidic story with the first Chabad Rebbe, the Alter Rebbe. He had his grandson, the Tzemach Tzedek, on his lap. Kid must have been maybe 2, 2.5, 3 years old. And he says to him, he says, point to Zayda. Zayda was him, right? Point to Zayda, grandpa. Point to Zayda. So the little boy points to the Zayda's arm. And the Zayda says, that's not the Zayda. So then he says, tell me who is Zayda. And the little Tzemach Tzedek says, points to his foot. And he says, no, that's not Zayda. So he says, okay, tell me who's Zayda. And the little boy points to his head. And he says, no, that's not Zayda. So he gets off the Zayda's lap, and he kind of walks around, and he says, Zayda! And the Zayda turns around and he says, that's Zayda. So he figured out who is Zayda. It took him too long. Right. So who are we? Body. Who are we? Our hand, our head, our heart, our feet. Who are we? Who's the self? So if we look at ourselves and we understand who the self is, obviously we are made up of 2 different parts. We have a soul, which is our spiritual part, which is who we are, our essence, who we really are. And we also have our character. Our character is who we want to be, who we become. As we go along, we have a soul and a character. Right? That's who we are. That's what we're made of. The character that we have is what I am playing now at this moment in my lifetime. When I was a kid, I was one character. As I grow older, I start changing. If we look back like 10 years, and sometimes you look at your handwriting 10 years ago, do you really recognize it sometimes? Sometimes I don't. I look at my handwriting like 10 or 20 years ago, and I look and I go, man, whose handwriting was this? Because what happens is we evolve. We never stay the same. If we're staying the same as a 17-year-old, then I guess there must be something wrong there. We obviously grow and we become different people. When the self is lacking the basic needs, they are very upset. Do you know what are 3 most important basic needs that we need as people on this earth? Does anybody know? Okay, eat, sleep, but that's more too basic. A little bit more broad. Okay? When I'm asking God to give me something, what are the 3 most important things that I ask for? Health. Excellent. Health. What else? Love is... Love is okay. Love is okay. She said love. No, love. Love is okay, but it's too basic. Again, the most important things that we ask for. We'll ask for our health. We'll ask for our children. And what's the 3rd thing we'll ask for? Nachas is children. What else will we ask for? Parnasa, very good. Money, a livelihood, right? Those are the three basic needs of a human being. If you lack in one of those three basic needs, what happens? What happens? If you're lacking, not if you have those three. If you're lacking, lacking means it's missing. If you're missing any of those three things, right, what happens? You're not happy. You feel like you're in pain. You feel like you're suffering. So lacking it means that you're suffering. How do we change that? By thinking. Chanisara, come on. How do you change it? By trach good, then sein good. Think good, it will be good. Right? So this is the original story of think good, it will be good. Can somebody unplug that? So think good, it will be good.
Is it the orange plug?
Check, whatever it is. So the original story of trach good, then sein good. The original story of Trach Gut B'Zayin Good is a story of the time of the Tzemach Tzedek, which is the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, which is approximately in the mid-1800s. This story is a story about a man named Reb Michal. Reb Michal had a son who had some special disease, and it looked like Reb Michal's son was going to die. And he was so upset. So somebody told him, go travel to the Tzemach Tzedek and ask him for a blessing for your son. He says, by the time I get to Tzemach Tzedek, who says he's going to be alive anymore? So the guy goes, no. Go to the Tzemach Tzedek. Whatever happens, happens. You need to know that you're going to go and get a blessing from the Tzemach Tzedek. So he went and traveled to the city of Lubavitch, and he met the Tzemach Tzedek. He got into him right away, and he said to the Tzemach Tzedek, my son is so sick, he's going to die. So what did the Tzemach Tzedek answer him? Trach good, that's sein good. Think good, it will be good. That's the original story. And what happened to this boy? He survived. So the idea is this way. I heard this from Miriam Adahan, which is very interesting. It says, thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become your words. Your words become your actions, and your actions become reality. So we start this way. We start from the thoughts. Thoughts become beliefs. Beliefs become words. Words become actions, and actions become reality. What's going to happen? It's a very interesting thing how that goes. So you start with your thoughts. First thing is you change your thoughts. Your thoughts have to believe that everything is going to happen good. When we say, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, love somebody just like you love yourself. If you love yourself and you think good about yourself, you will love other people just the same. So we need to get to this point of being happy. And we need to get to this pointing of think good will be good. Those are words. Let's go and see the levels of good that God has given us. The first level of good is the level of Rabbi Akiva. Who remembers the story of Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva was traveling. Do you remember the story? He was traveling. And what did he come to a town? And he asked them if he can sleep in the town. And the townspeople did not open their doors. So what did Rabbi Akiva say? Gam zu l'tova. This is also for the good. And he went into the forest to sleep. What did Rabbi Akiva have with him? He had a donkey, he had a rooster, and he had a candle. Right? And what happened?
Everything gone.
Everything was gone. How? What happened to the donkey? A lion came out from the forest, devoured the donkey, and that was the end of the donkey. What happened to the rooster? It also died, as another animal came in. And what happened to the candle?
Wind.
The wind came and blew it out, and he couldn't relight it. It was impossible to relight. So here is Rabbi Akiva in the forest, and it's dark, and he can't even learn Torah in the middle of the night, which he loved to do. And what happens? He goes to sleep, and some people, right, murderers, come to the city and murder a whole bunch of people in the city. Had he had a donkey, what would have happened? Donkey would neigh, right? He would hear it. Had it been a rooster, the rooster would go cock-a-doodle-doo. Had it been a candle, they would have seen him. But what happened at the end? What did Rabbi Akiva say? Gam zu l'tova. This is also for the good. Now the second level, okay, that's the first level. That's the first level. And what is the second level? A higher level of seeing the good in your life. In this we can see this is for the good. The next level will be Nacham Ish Gamzu. He will say, Kol ma da'avid l'tav avid. Everything is already good. Rabbi Akiva says, Gamzu l'tov, this is for the good. And what does Nacham Ish Gamzu say? Everything that happens is good already. What's the story with Nacham Ish Gamzu? Does anyone remember the story? He was going to the king to appease the emperor. And what happened? He was bringing all the gold and silver because it was a very bad decree for the Jewish people at that time. He came to an inn. He stopped at the inn. The innkeeper was a smart man, and he says, hey, look, he has all this diamonds and gold and silver. Let me take all these jewels, and let me fill it up with sand instead, and that way I can get rich. So while Reb Nachum was sleeping, he came in his room quietly and switched the jewels and all the precious stones to sand. Reb Nachum takes his chest and goes up towards the king, and he realizes that it's really heavy. And he looks inside and he sees that it's sand, and he says, oh, sand. So what did he say? Kol ma da'avid l'tav avid. This is already good. Comes to the emperor, and the emperor opens it up the chest, and there's sand in there, and he says, this is a strange gift. And he got very upset. One is his advisors. I believe it was an angel that came from God. One of his advisors comes and says to him, you remember the time of Abraham when Abraham was fighting the 4 kings? Actually, I think it was the 4 kings. And he didn't have anything to fight with. So he took the sand and he threw it up in the heavens. And what came out? Arrows. Maybe the sand is special Abraham sand. Let's try it. So they went and brought the sand to the battlefield. They threw the sand, and what came out? Arrows. And they killed their enemies. So the king gave him a chest full of jewels, and he says, forget the decree for the Jewish people. They're all good. I'm not going to decree anything bad about them. I'm going to be friends with the Jewish people. And he went back. He got back to the inn. What happened? The innkeeper, what was the innkeeper saying? How did you get back here? What's going on? So he told him the story. And the innkeeper, being the innkeeper that he was, went to the emperor, and he also wanted to give him sand. He thought there was special sand in his backyard. He gave him sand, and what happened at the end? It didn't work. And they killed him. Anyhow, everybody got what they deserved. Why? Because Reb Nachum believed that everything is already good. But that's a very high level. So I don't know if we can reach that level, but at least we can reach, hopefully we can reach Rabbi Akiva's level and understand that everything that is for the good.
But it's an angel.
So we need to look and see, even though we see all this good happening, we need to acknowledge that, yes, there is a challenge. If we don't have a challenge, what would happen if we didn't have these challenges? We wouldn't grow. From all our challengers, we become better people. Our challengers make us grow. Some challenges are easy, and it's not really a challenge. If we have a certain nature, it's not our challenge. Take the nature of Jacob. Yaakov, our forefathers. His nature was what? Integrity, emes, truth. He was always saying the truth. If you notice that all his challengers were about not telling the truth, little by little. Because sometimes, if we are kind to people, and we're too kind, is that good? No. Whatever thing we have, we need to know that our nature is not the only thing that's going to help us, because we need to know the limit on our nature. So what kind of challenges that God gives you usually? Things that are harder for you, that are above your nature. If you're a giving person, you won't have that kind of challenge of giving. Why? Because God knows you're going to give, but you know what? Sometimes God sends you people that you have to give too much, and then they slap you back. Why?
That's true.
Because you learn, right? You learn that the too much giving is no good. A person who can't say no, what happens? Everybody around them makes them say no. And if they say yes, they suffer. So God is trying to teach us how to say no. We came to this world to make not just our nature, but above our nature. To make changes in this world. And that's the only way you can actually change the world. See the hard part? It's a very hard part, is to make that change. So, Ezehu Asher Hasameach B'Chalko. Whoever is the rich one is the one who's happy with what they have. We need to be satisfied. We have something. Be happy that you have it. Keep on doing your mission. Don't compare yourself to other people. Because the minute you start making those comparisons, what happens?
You feel like
You feel pity for
You feel pity for yourself.
Yeah.
And what do we need to do? Remember what we said? We need to love ourselves and care about ourselves and work on ourselves and know that we are good.
Yeah,
You're
You're
good.
Whatever we have is Gino.
You have genug, right? You have genug.
Yeah.
You have enough. And focus on what? Focus on the happy moments, the happy things, and look at everything with happy eyes. See things. There's a story with a guy who was a Holocaust survivor, and actually he's kind of well known with tennis. And his name was Les Holt. In his story, it says that he was running away from the Nazis. He got caught and put into a concentration camp. Somehow there wasn't enough gas in the gas chamber. Somehow they ran out of gas when he was supposed to be killed, and he wasn't killed. And then later, when they had a firing squad, an old man pushed him down, and so he survived, and the old man died instead of him. And where did he focus? Did he focus on what happened bad to him? No, his focus was, that man was an angel from God. That man saved my life. He didn't focus on the shooter. He focused on the person who saved his life. Which is interesting, because sometimes when things are not going right, we need to focus on the good things,
You have
the
to find
good
the
part
best.
of it.
The best.
Look for the good in whatever challenges you have.
My mother usually said.
Focus on the good for your friends. Why? Because when we give of ourselves to others, and we love other people like we love ourselves, if we do love ourselves, then when we love the other people, we are helping ourselves at the same time. Because the more you give, the more you get. It's important that giving shouldn't be something that you look as something bad. Giving is always good. Whatever you give, you will get automatically. But remember one thing, you have to love yourself first. Because if you don't love yourself and you give everything of yourself, you're going to be very upset. But if you love yourself first, and then you give to other people, then guess what? It'll be good for you too. 100%. So, what if a person does something wrong? What if they don't behave? When you do something wrong, you must have faith. What's faith, Neil? Feel the good feelings as if you already resolved the situation. what is bitachon? Faith. You feel that you already got to the end and you resolved the situation. So when you're doing something wrong, there are two levels that people used to do years ago. Just relax and understand that we are now in the time of redemption. We are not at a time that we have to hurt ourselves. We're at a different time. It's interesting. The Rebbe in 1980 talked about this idea of tshuva, of repentance. You know that this is the month of Elul. It's a time to do tshuva, to repent, to become better. He said, let's miss out the pain, the bitterness. I did something wrong. Oh, yeah. No, let's get away from that. That's old. That's from years ago. What do we need to do now? Now we need to see the bigger picture. That means we need to have joy. That guess what? We are going to resolve it. Be happy that you saw what you did wrong. But don't be bitter about it. Resolve it. Get to that point. So there's two types of tshuva in the Tanya. There's tshuva tata'a, which is the lower form of tshuva. And that's the tshuva out of fear. Then there is tshuva ilah, which is the higher form of tshuva, which is the kind of tshuva that we do out of joy, out of happiness. We collectively already went through all that pain. We, as a Jewish nation, already went through the pain. We're done with all that pain. We went through crusades, we went through the Holocaust, we went through all kinds of pains in our lives. We don't need those pains anymore. Those pains are finished. Now we need to see the redemption, because now it's a time for redemption. It's a time to change our thought process. We've had enough pain, and we just have to come to the idea of joy. This month of Elul, it's the month of joy. It's the month before Rosh Hashanah. It's the month that we need to do tshuva out of joy, not out of bitterness, not being upset. We are entering this year 5777. If we go by creation, the first year of creation, we are almost in the year 6000. We're getting very close to the year 6000, which is already the 6 years of creation. We are getting to the 7th year, which is Shabbos. We are almost done. We are Friday afternoon. 5777 is Friday afternoon. Where's the year 6000? Start Shabbos already. It's past the 6 days of creation. We're at the 7th day, the Shabbos day, the Shabbos year. We're getting there. We have to continue to be happy. It says in this week's Parsha, when we go out, we go out to war. On who? On our enemies. What does it mean to go out to war? What kind of war are we talking about? We're talking about a real war? No, we're talking about a war within ourselves. What war do we have in ourselves? Yitzhahara, the evil inclination, yeah, mind yourself too. Evil inclination and the good inclination. This is our war all the time. Should we be happy or shouldn't we be happy? Should we be in a good mood or we shouldn't be in a good mood? We have this war constantly. And what kind of war is it? It's a war that we go out, la melchama, kitzetzet, we're going out to the war. Not in our house. In our houses, we need to have shalom bayis. We need to be happy. We need to have peace in our home. But when we go out, we have this war that we have to wage on your enemies. Why on your enemies? It means we need to be above our enemies. We shouldn't be on the level of our enemies. We have to overcome those challenges. On top of our enemies. Our enemies are the Yetzirah. We have to overcome all those amazing things. And it's interesting because it's a custom that when we have a victory march, you know, usually you go out to war, what do? You have a victory march at the beginning. Why do you have a victory march at the beginning? Because you're already winning. You're already winning. When we go out into the world and we are winning already, and we're happy, we're in a good mood, we're already winning, what happens? You win. You definitely win. It's interesting that Rabbi Greengrass wrote a note to the Rebbe in 1980. He said, the Rebbe said to him that the time of the Rebbe Maharash, it says in one of the Maimarim, in one of the discourses, that in the Zohar, it talks about the end of days. What does it say about the end of days? It says that Yishmael, who is the Arabs right now, right, the Muslims. At the end of days, Yishmael, who are the Arabs right now, they're going to wage the battle. And at the end, it's all going to be good. This is in the Zohar. And this is written how many years ago? In the 15th century? Even earlier. Wait, the Zohar was written way before that. It was written like in the year 100 or something. But I'm just saying, but even so, he already wrote that the end of days, it'll be Yishmael, it'll be the Arabs, which is a very interesting thing. And we see that we're getting close to the end of days. Very soon, we will get to the point of the final happiness, which will be what? Redemption. Exactly. And with that, we will be able to have enough in all three areas. Enough in our children, right? Nachas from the children. Enough with our lives, with our gesund, with our health.
Shalom bayis.
Shalom bayis, whatever we want. And also, what's the third thing? The third thing is parnasa. And in our money, we'll have enough money, we'll have enough livelihood in a very, very strong way. And this will give us to the end of days, and we should all have a ksiva v'chasima tova, a good year, a happy year, a healthy year. And this should be the year of Mashiach. We should continue with all this happiness, with a way of looking at life in a positive way, and we should all understand that we can look at things in a way that even, what's his name, Rabbi Akiva looked, Gamzu Latova, everything is for the good. We can look at the same way as Nachum Ish Gamzu looked, and he says also, what does he say? Everything is good already. So we can get to that point. Mitzvah Hashem will be able to see redemption very soon, and everyone should have a great year.
Amen.